Hello, everyone, and thanks so much for tuning in to the Boxing Authorities. Joining me at the desk, as always, Mr. Luther Dupree Jr., Mr. Smoking Jim Frazier, and my name is Claudio Relsano. Let's get into it. Upcoming fights. Josh Taylor, 18-0-13, guys, against Jack Catterall, 26-0-13. February 26th. Thoughts on the fight? Before we go to thoughts on the fight, thoughts on Taylor first. Is he what everybody says he is?
Listen, I have him in my top 10. Yes, he's everything that everybody says he is. Power in both hands. He has the heart. When I saw him against Regis Prograis, get his eye almost busted and still fought through it, I said, man, this guy has heart. I saw him against Ramirez, where he unified the title and became undisputed. Right. Put him down four times.
Not mentioning that. Thank you.
He is a very solid fighter. Josh Taylor's a monster at 140. He's looking to move up to 147 and fight those welterweights.
Would you do that?
Yeah,
if you were his?
Yeah, there's nobody else for him to fight. He's wiped out the division. He's fought the best at 140. And yeah, take his talents to 147 and go with those beasts. There's more money in that division, and he can really prove himself. I mean, you got the Spencers, the Boots, the Ortiz, the Crawfords. That's the loaded. And then you bring up one of my top 10 guys, Josh Taylor.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, he's the real deal, folks.
And you like him in this fight? We're going to predict.
Oh, he's going to dominate. That's a showcase fight.
All right. Smoking Jim, your thoughts on Josh Taylor Catterall?
Well, first of all, I'd like to see Luther's top 10 if Josh Taylor's in it. Listen, this is a guy that's a junior. You know, he needs to stay at junior welterweight. Listen, he's the champion. He has
Undisputed.
no problem. He has no problem making the weight. I think he should stay there and dominate. He's already looking past this fight. He's fighting undefeated fighter.
Yeah.
He's already looking past this fight for bigger fights at 147. Listen,
exactly.
he only got 18 fights. There's plenty of action right there. You may get some lightweights that move up to junior welterweight.
Who's
Just
there
stay
for
there.
Wait, time out. Who's there for him, Joe?
Well, Tank can move up. All those
He's
lightweights can move
He's
up.
135.
Then he already won 140.
You said there's plenty of
Tank
action
won the
for him
title
right
at
now.
140. Tank won it.
He's not at 140 now. He gave up that belt. He's at 135. Who's there for him now since you want to throw that shade? Well, nobody.
Well,
He's
nobody's
out.
ring rankings. Ain't no rank anybody.
Nobody
Just
on his
continue
level.
to fight right there.
Nobody on his level. Nobody on his level. He's cleaned it out.
So he should move up and get beat?
Fight the better competition.
But
it's bigger paydays. It's better fighters.
So we're
it's
doing
more
this for
recognition.
money now.
It's
We're doing
prize-
this for
Pocket
money.
watch.
Is it prize fighting?
Right,
If you clean out the division, you know I like it. When you clean out a division, jump up and clean out another one.
But here's my thing about that. I'm with Jim. Number one, yes, he cleaned out division. He's a nice fighter.
Nobody
I do
left.
believe he's top 10. I'm with you. He's a nice fighter. He can.
Oh, he's a great
tough.
fighter.
Yes,
Come on,
yes,
he's a great
yes.
fighter.
But I'm still a guy who wants to see some experience, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
I would not fight the big boys just yet at 147. I think this may be a challenging fight.
No,
he's
it's
going to win. Catterall's undefeated.
He's
26-0.
destroying this guy in 8 rounds.
Well, let me ask you
this
this,
is why your
Claudio.
record is what it is, Claudio.
I get it.
He's going to destroy this
I didn't say he's
guy.
going to
No
beat him. I think
competition.
it might be a
Let
little.
me ask
No, it
Claudio
won't. No, it
this.
won't.
Isn't there some outstanding lightweights that can move up to
They're
junior
not
welterweight
there
that you can
yet.
fight?
So
I'm just saying.
he needs to wait for the Devin Haney's and for the Shakurs and for the Ryan Garcias and all these
Stay
guys
away.
to move up.
Some
Stop.
of them.
Better than him moving up and getting wiped out.
See, that's my worry.
Listen, he's cutting weight. He's a natural 147 pounder.
What's this win?
That's what he
You're a
should be at.
nutritionalist now, huh? He has no problem making 140.
But you're
You're a nutritionalist. How do you know
He
that?
is a doctor. You know that. What do you call him?
Dr. Frazier. He needs to move up. You cleaned out the division. There's nothing left there for him.
I get it.
You're talking
Wait,
about
but is he ready?
wait for these
Is he
guys
ready?
to move up. Yes, he's ready.
You think he can fight
He's
the big boys right
undisputed.
now?
He can fight
When
them.
Aram, I think, mentioned
Bud
Crawford, remember?
Yeah, I would take Bud Crawford.
Yeah, okay.
But listen.
Easy?
Listen, it wouldn't be easy because Josh Taylor has heart. Josh
Yeah,
Taylor's
I
going to
got
get
heart
in there
too,
and finish it, but you don't have the skills. He
No,
got
not anymore.
skills, heart, and he got boxing IQ. He has the full package. Now, whether he's going to be an all-time great like Bud Crawford or Errol Spence, that's another matter. But he's ready for those guys. Come on. You guys would
I
just
don't have
marinate
skills. I
fights.
like
Hey,
that.
Claudio, I'm with you. I would rather wait for the lightweights to come up than to move up to 147 for the guys who is known for ducking. And they won't fight each other.
ask
Why
you a
would they
question.
fight Taylor?
Let me ask you a question. And this is a business question. I said maybe, as much as I love Buster, nobody loves Buster more than me. I'm crowbarring. But I think he fought Evander. Now, if he would have been in shape, he'd have beat anybody. But you don't fight a fresh Evander. Okay, you know what I'm trying to
He
say?
would have
You
never
wait
beat
until
Evander.
Evander's half done. Yeah. Now, do you think it would be a good idea for Taylor to wait before he jumps in against Spence and Crawford? Wait till they get a few more punches
stop
in them. You know what I'm
marinating
trying to
fights.
say, Jim?
That's
Who
bad for
Who's
boxing.
that Italian middleweight we love?
Joe Calzaghe.
Joe
He
Calzaghe.
never had to jump up. The lightweights
sat
have
waiting
to
for
move
him.
up.
He-
There's some
he
great
sat and waited
lightweights
for all the
that
guys
come
to
to
get
him.
old and fight them.
Okay, but Jim, that's my.
You want him to sit and wait for guys
Do
to
you
get old
think
and
it'd be
fight them at
better
the
for
tail
him
end?
as a business, his own entity, Josh Taylor? Okay, let me wait until Spence gets a few more punches. Let me wait till Crawford gets a few more punches in him. When they're not at their peak, Vinny Paz fought
You
Roy
all wanted
Jones
to- so
when he
you're
was at his
saying
peak.
What I would
tough
do-
competition
I
is what
would
you guys
do,
want.
If
No,
I was
no.
Josh Taylor, I would spend my career as a junior welterweight.
Just dominate.
I would just wait for the lightweights. They got to move up eventually to fight him. I wouldn't move up to 147. He doesn't have to. He can stay right there and dominate.
Where's the bigger money fights right now?
Well, oh my goodness.
But if you're a name,
where's
people
the
are gonna look
legacy? Where's
Huh?
the big money?
The
fights?
legacy is-
it's all at the
Mention that
welterweight.
Italian again.
Joe Calzaghe.
You don't even
He-
you
let me
you
ask you a
don't even
question.
remember his
Let me
name.
ask you a
Yeah,
question.
because
but
he
Prince
stayed
Nassim
went down.
Hamed.
He went down in history as one of the all-time greats. We don't
Hamed
do this
stayed
for
in that
money.
division,
We
and
do
he
this
made a lot
for
of money.
legacy.
Am I right or wrong?
He gets both at
Did Prince
welterweight.
Nassim stay in that division? He made a lot of money.
Okay,
Thank
that was
you.
good that
Let's
worked
do
for
it for
him.
le- let's do it
Until
for
he
legacy.
Listen, legacy and prize fighting, it's best for him to move up to. Now, what if he goes to welterweight
And he
beats
gets pounded?
What if?
But if
What
he
if?
beats
If he
Bud
beats,
Crawford,
okay, all right.
beats Errol Spence,
Big time.
he goes to a whole nother
Yes, he
level,
does.
and that's his natural
Is he on the
weight.
Canelo level if he beats those boys?
Oh, yes, he is.
You're right
Yes,
there.
he
You're right
comes
there.
right there.
But does he beat those guys?
I don't think he does, but I want him to have the opportunity. He is right there. He's
Now-
dominated 140.
Next fight.
Next fight, I'd like him to take that step up.
I wait a little bit.
You know,
You're already looking. You're doing what he's doing. He's looking past.
Jim
it.
makes
He
a
can look
point.
at this Jack-
when you
this-
look
this
past,
Jack,
when you
Catterall.
look past, it's like when you say you're going to retire.
This
you're
is
already
a
retired.
showcase
If you're looking
fight.
forward to Spence and Crawford, what about this guy?
Yeah,
this boy right here.
that's right. My
Listen,
focus
guys,
will be right here.
one day you guys will understand this is a showcase fight. This is nothing. There's nothing left
Should
for
be.
him.
Should
He
be.
needs to go to 147. That's where the competition is. That's where the big money fight and legacy fights are. Why would you say not to do that? I mean,
Right
you
now,
all-
not to
you
do it.
all
Right
would be
now.
some terrible
Is there
managers.
name some of the lightweights that is going to eventually move up.
But they're not there.
I'm
We
just
don't know
asking,
when.
name some of
They
them.
can't even
Name
fight
some
each
of them.
other at lightweight.
Name
You
some-
talking about a
Tank
moving up to
already
junior
fought
weight.
at 140.
He fought one guy, one fight, and got a belt, and he moved back down to 135. So
Which is kind of rare, is it
I
not,
see that.
to move back down?
I see the size.
he's a
of,
natural. He's a natural.
I
I
see
mean,
the-
that's best for
Well, I
him.
see the size of Tank's head. He can't hold 135
Listen,
long.
Tank has a
He
history
gonna
of
be-
knockout. Tank has knocked out
Yeah, he'll be
heavyweights.
with that head. He'll be light heavyweight one day.
Now, a guy that Smoking Jim always talked about is Edgar Berlanga. He is 18-0, 16 knockouts. He's fighting a guy named Steve Rolls, who's 21-1-12. Jim, we'll start with you because that's your boy. Thoughts on that fight?
Well, I like my man to fight a couple more stumble bumps. He don't fight no stumble bumps. I tell you what, Rolls
This
is on
guy
the
was
roll.
supposed to be.
Roll is
He's
37.
fighting Fury next?
Rolls is 37
Oh,
years old.
oh, he got to work on that knee, and that shin might be questionable. I
I'm
don't
a little worried.
know.
I'm a little worried about this fight, Claudio,
Oh,
because
gosh.
Rolls only fought.
No.
Rolls only got one loss, and that was the Triple G.
Yeah,
and
it's
this
not-
is a guy that's
Yeah.
37 years old. He's a
Past his
hard worker.
prime.
I would like Edgar to fight some stumble bumps. He has
I'm
no
with you,
easy
Luke,
fights.
Jim. I'm
they
with
keep
you.
throwing him in
Oh, you
there
are
with
terrible.
tough and tough.
Let me ask you a
competition.
question. And you make
He's
great
been fighting.
points. You
He's
know I
been
agree
fighting
with you.
D level. That's why he had all those KOs in a row.
Jim,
he
let me ask you a
finally
question.
fought a couple tough fighters, and you saw Nicholson. He went the distance. He just got dropped by that guy,
That
Steve
guy.
Rolls.
That
We
guy.
don't even know who that Kasurchi, whatever his name is, starts with a C. He's C level, and he still dropped Edgar Berlanga. He's stepping up, and he's struggling. Jim, the height is getting brought back down to reality.
Let me ask you a question. When you say stumble bums, do you mean for him to fight them so he can improve physically, but
Yes.
also mentally?
It's not helping him.
Yes.
I'm with you because
He's been fighting those guys.
he needs more.
No, he needs better guys because he has to work on that day. Did you see he had his whole face
Yeah, and he got
exposed?
stuck. Right, that's what I'm saying. He's not ready for the big
He
time
should
yet.
be working at that
Fighting
sparring.
sea level.
No, this is
Make
sea
money
level.
while you're
Steve
fighting sea
Rose
level.
is sea level.
But no, Steve Rose, he didn't do bad. I'm not
Steve
saying he's not
Rose
going
is
to win.
37, well past his prime, dominated, destroyed by Triple G,
Well, he didn't
who's
turn
40
pro.
something.
He didn't
Come
start
on.
boxing until he was 17, so he's not beat up.
Yeah,
raw.
20 years. 20 years of beatings. Listen, Edgar Berlanga will add another knockout number 17.
And then what would you do? What would you do next?
He got to step up. I mean,
Okay,
168
a
is a
little
tough
bit.
division.
Yeah.
I mean, that's loaded. And you got Boo Boo moving in there. You got Jamal Charlo
who?
moving in there. Demetrius Andrade's moving in there.
But
Boo
you-
Boo.
Would you
Boo Boo.
talk about my boy
David
Morrell?
Benavidez. David Morrell.
No, wait, no, go against Benavidez.
Listen, Edgar Berlanga, he wants those big fights. He's not ready for those
If he
big
had got
fights.
caught like that from Benavidez, what would happen?
He's done.
He ain't getting
He's
up.
done. He's asleep.
Yeah.
Can the
He
smelly
ain't
so
getting
wake him up?
But I'm with you with Berlanga. You have something special
He's-
here. He got in that knockout thing.
Is he special though? Do we know
I-
that?
I see what
We
you're saying.
know
Well,
he
they're
has-
trying
we
to
know he
market
has-
him as special
Yeah,
because
well,
of all the
that's what
consecutive
That's
knockouts.
what Top Rank does. They get these guys hyped
Marketing.
up and hyped
Right.
up. Everybody except
for
Bud.
boxing.
Everybody except Bud Crawford. They hype them all
Yeah, they
up.
dog
Bud
him.
Crawford, they dog
They
him and say,
dog him.
you know, they could have bought property in Beverly Hills with all the money they lost on him. Everybody else they hype up. Even Nico Ali, they're hyping that
Oh,
guy.
I'm telling you, Walsh.
The worst Ali shuffle I ever seen in my
I
life.
know what's
I
slow.
got 3-year-olds.
Joe
that do
Joyce
the
might have
shuffle
done a better
than that.
one.
Oh, he did the Ali shuffle.
When we come back,
Nice job.
Smoking Jim, he talk about crowbarring. Every single show, Jim says what?
This is the greatest era of heavyweight
Well,
boxing.
we are going to now. We went over each division or each era, and we proved them wrong. But now we're going to rank them. So this is the Smoking Jim section of the heavyweight division. Right back with the boxing authorities. Thank you so much for tuning in to the boxing authorities. All right, do your rank your heavyweight eras
He's
from
not
the
prepared.
'60s
He's
to
not
present.
prepared.
Well, listen, the worst era in heavyweight boxing was the 2010. That was a horrible era. I'm talking Vitaly Klitschko, David Haye.
So I'm talking about the enough. I
Alexander
told you about
Povetkin.
David Haye.
That was
but,
a-
so you're
that
saying
was
the
a whole-
2000s right now? Is the worst.
2010
Okay.
was horrible. That was the
I'm
worst
talking about
I've
the
ever seen.
2000s to present.
That's 20 years. I broke them up. You know, I do my research. So 2010 was the worst ever.
Okay.
I was absolute garbage, trash. After that, I have the 2000s. Lennox Lewis, Vladimir, Vitaly, Chris Berg,
Right.
Lehman Brewster.
Right.
I
Oh,
got
yeah, Lehman Brewster.
Lehman
I forgot about
Brewster.
him. He was sneaking
You know?
in.
Yeah, I got that one. Then I'm going to go with, I'll put the 70. No. I'm going with the 80s. This is my third one.
Mm-hmm.
Tyson, Larry Holmes, Michael Spinks, Mike Weaver,
Yeah, that's
Tim
right.
Witherspoon. Those are
That's
my
right.
top 5 from the
you
80s. Then I'm going to go with my 60s. Sonny Liston, Henry Cooper. I have
Henry
that.
Cooper.
Henry Cooper's in there. Now, 90s was my second
Don't forget
favorite.
about Muhammad.
No, he's in my 70s. I put him in my 70s at the
Okay.
time. So next, my second is the 90s. Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Tyson was still in there, Riddick Bowe, and Michael Moore. The 90s was my second favorite era. And then the 1970s, bar none, this was the greatest era. Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, Jerry Crory, all these guys. Ken Norton, another Hall of Famer. The 70s was the greatest era, in my opinion, of heavyweight boxing. The 90s with Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Riddick Bowe was my second greatest era.
Well, Rocky Roads is my favorite ice cream, but it ain't the best ice cream out there. You going with your
That's pretty
favorites
good.
or you going with the best
The
here?
best. My favorite is always the
Okay,
best.
all
Just like my record, it's always the best.
The camera's on you,
Undefeated.
Mr. Frazier. Go ahead.
Well, where did you rank today's fights?
It didn't even rank.
Okay,
It didn't even rank.
Okay.
Didn't make the hit the.
It didn't rank. It's last.
Well-
I put it in with the other 20,
Well-
10, and 2000s. This is a bad era.
got
I
two
think-
color pens,
I
two
think
different.
we- yeah, I
He's
think
serious.
I think we kind of heard enough from down there.
The camera's on you.
Number one, the greatest era of heavyweight boxing of all time is today's era The second greatest era was the 70s with Muhammad Ali, George Foreman, Joe
That's the
Frazier,
greatest, okay.
Larry Holmes, and those guys. The third greatest era was the 2000 with both Klitschko brothers, Roy Jones, Lennox Lewis, James Toney, and John Ruiz.
That is a horrible
The
era.
fourth greatest era was the 60s with Sonny Liston, Cassius Clay, Floyd Patterson, Cleveland Williams, Oscar Bonavena, and Archibald Lee Wright.
Who?
Archibald Lee Wright, better known as Archie Moore.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I was
I
gonna-
call these guys what the mama call them.
You're a boxing authority, boy.
Archibald Lee Wright.
You sure it's right this time, Jim?
The fifth greatest era of all time was the 80s with Mike Tyson,
Fifth?
Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney, George Foreman, and Michael Spinks.
And Weaver.
The sixth greatest era and Weaver would have been in there. Let me put Weaver in there. And the sixth greatest era of all time was the 90s with Klitschko, Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield.
6 eras. I got 5.
You know, Mike Tyson, Tua, Butterbean, and
Butterbean.
Tommy
Oh, it's
Morrison.
that list. No, that
And
list of
that's
the
it.
trash.
Say it. Go ahead. Garbage.
Trash.
Well, okay. Well, Butterbean was 77-10 with 58 KOs. So you tell me.
Who did he
somebody-
fight? Some
Larry
bums.
Holmes, and
We're
Larry
not
Holmes
talking
scored him.
tough man competition.
Well, he fought
Guys
that
out
too.
fresh out of the bar,
This
just
was
want to make a
boxing.
couple
We-
dollars.
we're-
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Outta
going to
here.
go. First, do you like his list?
It's absolute trash, Jim. You look like you just woke up and put something together.
All right. I got-
Klitschko
out of the-
era was the third greatest. Get out of here,
Out of the
Jim.
5
You
eras, I
didn't
think he
even
had
try.
like 7 eras. I'm
You
not
didn't
sure.
even
what
try.
The 5th era, I'm going with the 60s. Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston, Patterson, Ingemar Johansson, and Joe Frazier was kind of coming up around there. But other than Ali and Liston, you know, Patterson was nice, but
No Archibald.
You put,
He was a little bit-
you put Ali in the 60s?
and I'm going to put him in the 70s
Oh, okay.
too.
All right.
Yes. Today, okay, and I had a hell of a time. Which is better, the 60s or today? The reason why I chose today
Oh.
as the 5th, or I'm sorry, as the 4th, is because there's a lot of guys. It's deeper. Okay, in the 60s they were
coming
tougher,
around.
but
You're
they were
coming around.
they're a little deeper.
You're
like
going
there's
down the
fights,
wrong path,
there's
Claudio.
fights that we're interested in. Okay, but I still right now we have Fury, Wilder, Usyk, AJ Ortiz, Ruiz, Joe Joyce, Makhmudov, Sanchez, White, Herkovic. Just some, and there's a few people we don't know enough about yet. But it's deep, not great, but it's okay.
I'm liking what I'm hearing.
All right. Now the next is the '80s, and it's hard for me to put the '80s third because I love the '80s. But you had a lot of that was a deep one. With Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, Evander, Michael Spinks, Michael Dokes, Greg Page, and Pigland Thomas. Those 3 guys could have been a hell of a lot better, but out of the ring issues deterred them. Jerry Cooney, Bone Crusher Smith. You didn't want to play with him. Tim Witherspoon. Friend of the show, Mike Weaver.
Yeah, Mike.
Nobody mentioned these 2 guys. Tony Tubbs, Tony Tucker was very good. Tony Tucker was very
TNT
solid.
Tucker, yeah.
The 90s
Yes.
with Tyson, Lewis,
Yes.
Foreman,
Yes.
Moorer, Evander, Buster, Vladimir, Vidley, Bo, Tua, Mercer. I'll throw in Tommy Morrison. I'll do more than throw in.
Ray
He deserved
Mercer,
to be in
Tommy
there.
Morrison,
Ray
yeah.
Mercer, I think I said. And I'm going to throw in Oliver McCall. He did,
My cousin.
and Rock Ramen.
He
So
beat a
that
man
was
crying.
deep. That was deep.
Butterbean.
Oh,
Oh,
Butterbean. And the best, I think, by far, and I'm going to
Bar
ask you
none.
guys a question about this. Ali again, Foreman again, Joe Frazier again. Ken Norton was tough. Yes, he was known
Yeah.
for losses, but he was damn good. He's a Hall of Famer. Larry Holmes was making his bones in the 70s. Jerry Quarry, you may beat him, but he's going. You know you're going to fight. Ernie Shavers.
Shavers,
All right,
yeah.
Shavers, you may beat him,
Got
maybe.
Shavers on my list too.
So it's not garbage. You're my boy. Ron Lyle. You didn't want to fool Ron Lyle because the Quarry, Shavers, and Lyle could knock you
And or out
cold.
of prison.
They knock the guys currently out.
Yes, it would.
I take
Jimmy
them- I
Young,
take
I know
them
he
over
rips on
most of
Jimmy
these
Young.
current
Jimmy
guys.
Young was hard to look good against. He was not, for some reason,
Stick his
he was
head
just
out.
tough.
I
Okay.
got
Jimmy Ellis.
I got Jimmy Ellis on my list.
Jimmy Ellis was tough. He was, George Chavallo was a banger.
Yes, he was.
Yes, you're going to beat him.
Out of Canada.
Yes, sir. You're going to beat him, Luther, but you're going to know you're in a fight. And Oscar Bonavena. Now, so again, I'll go back. 60s, number 5. Today, number 4. 80s, number 3. 90s, number 2. 70s, number 1. Let me ask you a question, Luther. First of all, do you like that list?
Yours is much better than
I got
than
70s
Jim's.
number 2.
That's but you can't have today's as number one. That's just that's fake
one of my
news.
reasons for saying it, see if you agree with this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, so your weakest link determines how strong you are. I'm not going to sit here and say Shavers, Lyle, and Young, guys are the weak links. I don't mean to phrase it like that. But the guys like who didn't win a belt, Shavers, Lyle, Corey, Jimmy Young, Chevalo, those guys didn't win a belt and they were damn good. Let's go to the 80s. A guy like Jerry Cooney didn't win a belt. Oh, I forgot Ronaldo Snipes. But anyway, Jerry Cooney didn't win a belt, but he is still one of the most respected boxers out there. And he didn't win a belt. It goes to show you how good those divisions were at that time. Am I right in saying it that way?
I agree. That's why you have to, if you know boxing and you're a true boxing authority, Jim, you have to have 70s as number one. I mean, there's absolutely
Of all time.
Of all time.
Yes, sir.
How do you not have the 70s as number one? What makes this era better than that era? That's what I need. Can you give us that?
Well, number 1, Muhammad Ali wasn't better than Cassius Clay, and Cassius Clay was in the 60s.
But Muhammad was still good in the same fight.
Jim, what makes this era, in your wrong opinion, better than the 70s?
Well, George Foreman was great, but he fought Jose Roman, and then he.
Yeah, but he beat him.
What are you talking about,
He only
Jim?
had three title defenses.
Let me ask you
Jose
this.
Roman.
Okay, I'm
Ken-
still waiting for your
Ken
evidence.
Norton,
What
Ken Norton
evidence,
and
what
Muhammad
evidence
Ali.
makes this era better than that one? You still haven't given me anything.
It's deeper
Why
and more
is it
talented.
How? Who's more
In my
talented than
opinion.
Muhammad Ali?
In my opinion. And Claudio started
No, I
to
said,
come on the board.
who's more talented
It's
than Muhammad Ali?
interesting.
Pardon me?
Who would you take over Muhammad Ali in this era?
You mean the 7 or 8
I'm-
losses all
good
he
question.
had?
No,
I'm
it doesn't
asking
matter.
you, Jim.
Good question.
Can you
I'm just
answer a
saying.
question? Who would you take in this era?
I got
Answer the
25,
question,
I got
Jim.
25 people that could beat Leon Spinks.
but he didn't ask you
I
about
said
it.
Muhammad Ali, Jim.
One
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Who beats Muhammad Ali?
Nobody could beat Cassius Clay, but
God
there's a lot of
will
people
you
beat
answer
Muhammad
the,
Ali.
Will you answer the question?
I'm answering it the
We
best
gotta
I
treat him as
could.
a hostile
The
witness.
Muhammad Ali.
Answer the daggone question.
Well,
Nobody.
Trevor-
Thank you.
I don't
Nobody.
see Trevor Burbick
Na-
on your list.
Listen, let me ask you a
Nobody.
question.
Okay.
Trevor
Okay,
Burbick.
stop.
Trevor
Nobody.
Burbick.
Okay, so your answer is no. Who beats George Foreman right now on your list? Since this is so much better.
Who beats which
Now, I'm
George
asking,
Foreman?
answer the
Either
question.
or. Either or.
George of the 70s?
Either or.
George
We
of the
said the
70s?
Okay, 70s for right now.
Tyson Fury would
Oh,
beat up
get-
Foreman.
Get out. Get the
In
heck
my
out of here.
opinion, can I have an
Okay.
opinion?
All right,
ask you
so
a question.
one person.
All
Okay.
right, Judge
Which is wrong
Mathis.
there.
Judge Mathis.
How many
can
Hall of
have an
Famers do
opinion?
you have? Okay, this is easy. Muhammad, Hall of Famer. Foreman, Hall of Famer. Frazier, Hall of
Frazier.
Famer. Norton, Hall of
Hall of
Famer.
Famer.
Holmes, Hall of Famer. And then again, the guys who aren't,
Norton,
but he's a
Hall
Hall
of
of Famer.
Famer.
But again,
Norton,
Corey Shavers. Forget about the big boys. Forget about the Hall of Famers. Let's go with Corey, Shavers, Lyle, Young, and Ellis.
Well, I'll give you the 70s. I had it number 2.
I'm talking about compared to today.
Jim, how
there's
many
no
Hall of Famers
comparison.
you have today?
Huh?
How many Hall
Fury's
of Famers?
going to make it.
How many Hall of
Wilder's going to
Famers?
make it.
How many
Usyk-
Hall of Famers coming out of this list, Jim?
I'm not going to
Since
say AJ anymore.
He's probably going to make it just because of the way the Boxing Hall of Fame is.
Maybe Luther.
So so 2 for sure and 1 possible.
Wilder's not even on my list, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Who's on your list as a Hall of Famer right now, Jim?
They're still
I'm-
doing their resume.
Right, so we can't say that they're
They're
better.
still, no, I can say it. I can see
You
it.
just make up stuff.
In my opinion.
So we named all these Hall of Famers. You can't give us more
But
than one.
they didn't get to Hall of Fame until 5 years after they retired.
No, but they had the career.
They had a
Michael
career.
Michael
Who has a
Moore
Hall
is
of,
gonna
who,
eventually
who has
get
a
the
Hall
Hall
of
of
Fame career
Fame.
right now? Who's
Well-
on that path right now, Jim?
Well, Tyson Fury's the greatest of all time. Anthony
that's
Joshua's probably going to go. Usyk will probably go
Usyk.
in. Wilder will probably go in. I can go on and on.
All right, let me ask you a
Okay,
question.
that's
Go on
maybe,
and on.
maybe
Maybe.
3.
That's 4
Maybe
right there.
3.
We ain't even talking
Who
about
do you
Tony
think wins?
Yoka.
Who do you think wins between Herkovic and Muhammad Ali?
Come on,
All right, let me ask you a serious
everybody.
question.
Well,
Am
let
I
me
wrong
ask you
in
this,
saying-
Claudio.
Go ahead.
I could be a Bucci. He was everybody's Hall of Famer till he went to jail. Would he rob a bank or something? Whatever he did to go to jail.
Bank.
But
You always gotta bring
you
in some
gotta
jail
wait.
blotter stuff.
Don't you-
Always,
Didn't you
always.
say it one time? I heard you on the
I
radio.
said-
back
I thought
in
he
the
could have
day.
been one of the greatest.
Yeah, he
So-
could have.
But
been.
he didn't.
He didn't. He could
But
have been.
that's what I'm saying. How can I say
So how could
somebody's
you?
going to be a Hall of Fame?
So you just
Joker
proved.
could
So,
get shot
so that
tomorrow.
just proves my point. That just proves my point. You can't put this era. So Claudia, what Jim doesn't understand, he just proved our point.
No,
you can't
no.
put this era over that because
No,
we don't
they
know what's going to
haven't-
happen
I can have
after
an
here.
They're not
opinion.
accomplished.
No, you
They're
just
not
proved
accomplished.
my point.
No,
You
because
just said Ike Miociucci was on a Hall of Fame path,
That's what
but
you
he didn't
said.
do it, and you agreed with me.
Let me ask you
but
guys
he
a
didn't
question.
do
He
it
wasn't
because we
talented
didn't see what
'cause he's
happened.
not in the Hall
so
of
you
Fame.
Let me
can't
ask you a
put
question.
He'd have knocked Ken Norton out.
You can't put potential over facts.
In
ask
your
you-
opinion.
The facts, you can't.
All right, you was a professor at Howard, or did you get a degree there?
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me ask you guys a
Debate, the
question.
great
Today,
debate.
let's say Joe Joyce, let's say Mahmudov, let's
No,
say
Joe Joyce ain't on my
Herkovic.
list.
Wait a minute, Herkovic, let's say. Let's even throw in Andy Ruiz, who had a belt for about
I
2
forgot him.
cheeseburgers.
I forgot.
Now,
I forgot him.
20
let's go.
cheeseburgers.
Let's go with Corey, Shavers, Lau, Young, and Ellis. Who the non-champions? And I even know I threw Ruiz in there. Forget about the champions because there's no comparison.
Don't be nibbling
no
on Ellis.
comparison.
Put
Am
your
I right or
Jimmy
wrong,
Young
Luther?
in there. Put your bump
I'm
Jimmy
taking
Young
the
in
Norton.
there.
It's not even
I'm
close.
taking the
So
Shavers.
forget about that.
I'm taking the
Forget about
Lyles.
that.
I'm taking those.
Okay,
And that's the lower.
But I'm talking
that's
about I'm talking about the guys who didn't win a belt are better than the guys who
That's-
didn't win the belt today.
Right.
Which what I'm trying. Forget about
Would
the,
you put Jimmy Ellis ahead of anybody on this list?
a couple.
With
of
a
them,
yellow
yes.
streak down his back?
A couple of them.
come
Over
on, man.
he was like Sanchez.
John Gotti said never take a backward step, and all
Well,
he
well,
did was stick his head out
He
the
reminds
ring.
no,
Hey,
that's
that's
Jimmy Young.
smart.
Jimmy Young.
Yeah, that's what I
smart.
mean. Who did I say?
Ellis.
Oh,
Ellis,
Jimmy
yeah.
Ellis, great.
Yeah, that's
he's
what I'm
great.
saying.
Yeah, I'm talking about Jimmy Young.
Oh,
So-
But
Your
he was.
Your
Young.
list is so bad, you getting confused, Jim. That's how
But you
trash
understand
your
my
list
question.
is.
Jimmy and Jimmy.
You understand my question, Luke? Am I making sense?
Yeah, you're
the
making
guys
sense.
who, okay, even a guy like Corey, I'll go back to those boys. Lau, Corey, Shavers, they could knock the hell out of you
Yeah,
in
and
one
I had
shot.
him number 2.
But I'm saying, are they
had
better?
him.
Are they better than
You still have
Joyce,
not- no,
Herkovic?
no.
Yes, they
No,
are.
they're better than Joyce, yeah. but
and
Joyce had him
Herkovic
up.
and all them
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, I agree
Jim,
with that.
I'm still
I
waiting
agree
to
with
find
that.
out why. You have not given us any
I
evidence.
told you
why.
Tyson Fury's the greatest ever put on.
And
gloves.
why is he the greatest ever?
He's
Because-
better, in my
Why?
opinion.
I'm asking you.
Well,
why.
one, he's 6
I'm
foot
asking you-
9.
Okay,
He's
there was a
six-
7-footer.
He's 6
Okay.
foot 9.
okay.
So is
He
Mike
can
White.
box.
Remember Mike White?
He got
And who's that guy
heart.
that
He's a
identified?
gypsy.
Bowler. He was a
Oh,
7-footer.
He's
Value
a
of
fighting
Value.
man. He's a gypsy. In my opinion, he's the greatest ever. Greater than Marciano.
But you just
greater
said he
than
might lose to
Cassius
Dillian
Clay.
White. You just said he
yes,
might-
and so did Muhammad Ali lose 7
How
times.
many Hall of Famers did Fury beat?
Pardon me?
One.
Oh my goodness.
Two.
We
Two.
don't know. We
Wilder
don't know.
and Klitschko.
We don't know.
Oh yeah, okay, my fault.
We don't know how many.
Because there ain't gonna be any Hall of Famers.
Muhammad
You're not gonna
Ali
fight any Hall
got
of
beat.
Famers.
Muhammad Ali got
First of
beat
all,
up by
Ty-
Leo
first of all,
Spinks. What
Tyson
Hall of
Fury
Fame is
gave
he
that-
in?
First of all, Tyson
What
Fury-
Hall of Fame is Leo? How Trevor Burbick? What Hall of Fame is he in?
Mama was old.
Oh my goodness! Now he's
Tyson,
old.
listen, Tyson's Fury resume is very weak.
Yeah,
It's one of the
pardon me?
weakest. It's the weak. His resume is weaker than most of the heavyweights currently
But
fighting.
was he great?
Against
You can look
Fury,
great
yes.
against-
He whooped the
Sid
man
Evans.
3 times.
Again, I'll say it again. It's
And
like,
the third one was a war.
am I right in saying it's like saying I'm the tallest one in my family?
Right.
He's
He
the
didn't-
best one in the division.
Right.
All right,
But
great.
his resume is horrible. Dillian White is going to add something if he beats Dillian White.
Yeah, it'll add
But he
little
has
Didn't he
something.
beat Klitschko? That's a Hall of Famer.
right. but-
and he beat Wilder. Those
And
are
he
two.
beat Wilder
But
3
anybody-
times,
but
so
it-
that's 3 Hall of That's
We don't
4
wanna get
Hall of
crazy.
Famers right there.
Listen, but if you look at the top 10, he's fought none of them. This will be the third guy he's fought his whole career that's in the top 10 heavyweight.
So in other words, now we don't want to hear this is the greatest. It's interesting. It's an interesting division because we ain't got nothing else.
You have
Well,
not been able
Michael
to prove
Jordan
your
never
point.
went against Will Chamberlain, so that means Michael wasn't great.
He went against Hall of Famers. He went
He ain't
against
gonna
Karl
go against Will
Malone
Chamberlain.
and
Was he
John
better than Will
Stockton and
Chamberlain?
Gary Payton.
Was he better than Will Chamberlain?
He
No,
went against
different
Charles
positions.
Barkley,
It's different positions.
Clyde Drexler. Come on, I'm just dropping names.
Who's the
went
greatest
against,
of all
He went
time?
against
Will
Magic and
Chamberlain.
Kareem.
For me,
For,
well,
for me and him, Will Chamberlain was the greatest of all time, and
Kareem-
Tyson Fury's the greatest of all time.
No, that's
Just
not
because
true.
Will didn't play
That's not
against
true.
these guys.
Fury is nowhere near the greatest of
In
all
my
time.
opinion. Can I have an opinion?
Muhammad Ali's the greatest of
Or
all
Cassius
time.
Clay.
We're gonna end it
Muhammad
real
Ali
quick
couldn't beat Cassius Clay.
with the boxing mailbag at yahoo.com.
Bipolar
Continue
stuff.
to send your
Outta
great
here.
questions to us. This is for all three. Tara Ann from Ohio. Is it better to have one megastar in the women's division like a Christy Martin or several stars like Serrano, Taylor, and Shields? Luther Dupree.
I like the variety right now. Shields, Taylor, Serrano, Baumgartner.
Yes.
It's so deep. Women's boxing is on fire, and they're all fighting each other now.
And they're fighting big venues.
Baumgartner, yeah, let's put everything behind her.
Oh, here you go. You would
All
say
right,
that.
we snuck one in. All right, as always, we hope you enjoy our show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. And he will never say again that this is the greatest heavyweight era of all time. Thank you for just tuning in to the Boxing Authorities.